So that's the dragon we just made.
Yeah.
And you're just cranking it up. That's really cool. That's very cool. Master Builder Clint! Good morning. This is so cool. So we've hung out before, and we're going to have to show people some of the cool things that you've built. But you, sir, get paid to play with Legos for a living.
That's right.
How in the world did you get that job?
Well, I had, like most of the master builders, had to win a competition to get the job.
Really?
Yep. So anytime that LEGOLAND needs a master builder, whether they have had one move locations or if they're opening a new location, they put an open call for anybody who's interested. And so they held a competition for master model builder. They call them Brick Factor. And I had 100 different people that I was up against to win the job.
Wow. Over 100 people competing over the course of 2 days, right?
Yep. So it was on a weekend. So there were 3 rounds. Each round we had to build something on the spot. No instructions, just kind of a theme and a time limit, go. And so the first round we had to build an animal. So I built a chicken with real wing flapping action. The second round we had to build something vacation related. So I built Splash Mountain from Disneyland. And then the third round, we kind of needed to show something about ourselves, so I built a computer, because I've got a background in IT, and it has a keyboard and a mouse, and it actually has real, like a button you push on the side that kicks out a computer disk.
Okay, and you said you actually still have it.
Yes, I do. Yep, it's in my office.
Oh my gosh, can we go see your office?
Sure.
Oh! Good morning, everybody. Jennifer Ann Wilson here. I'm hanging out at LEGOLAND this morning in Auburn Hills at Great Lakes Crossing Mall. And Clint here, I have gotten a chance to hang out with him before, but we had some downtime, and just hearing a little bit about his journey is pretty incredible. And so many people have dreams that seem impossible, right? If you were, and this is a good question, actually. I mean, how many of you have had dreams and somebody told you that that wasn't possible, it wasn't achievable, that that's not a real job, right? Clint, you told me that you thought from a really young age, how cool would it be to play with Legos for a living?
Yeah.
Did you ever tell your parents that you dreamed of building Legos?
Oh, yeah. So when I was about 6 or 7, it did occur to me that somebody had to design the kits that you bought at the store and put together at home. And so I figured it might as well be me.
What did your parents say? Did they ever say, hey, you should really probably major in something more practical?
My parents were usually pretty encouraging. So they did get me lots of Lego kits that I could build and play with. And I continued even into high school and college, building and designing and learning how to do kind of the computer work as well to plan out Lego builds. So my parents were supportive.
Did you ever have friends or encounter people who thought what you were doing was silly? Like, hey, haven't you outgrown Legos yet? Or was there anybody who thought, hey, you need to be more practical?
I've kind of often had my head in the clouds because, I did think that with the Lego thing, it was just kind of always a hobby when I got kind of into high school and college. So I did study English and theater, which actually still helps me in my job here because I'm very comfortable talking with, guests that come into the attraction and come to see me. So I don't really have any problem with that kind of thing. And then it just kind of actually all tied back together into the Lego building. So it just paid off.
That's really interesting. And there's a guy here. His name is James. James is here. I'm going to see if I can see more to see the rest of it. Do you know a guy named James Wesley?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so James, I'm curious. So James says in his comment, I got my job as a team coordinator in Lansing, Michigan. Part of the assessment was pulling the truck together out of Legos. So that's interesting because I think a lot of times people have these dreams. Maybe and it seems impossible to other people, and a lot of times in our lives because people care about us, they might say, "Hey, we don't want you to be broke.
Right, yeah.
You're going to have to think about getting a real job." But you always had this dream, and you were somehow able to achieve it.
That's right. Yeah, and so you have to go for it. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Well, that is very true. And how long have you been building Legos?
I've been building since I was about 4 years old.
Wow. And how long have you been getting paid to build Legos?
For 5 years now.
5 years. Wow. And you said at the beginning of this live, there was a competition.
Yes.
It was a 2-day long competition and you had challenges.
Yes.
So you had to come up with your own project and build it. And you still saved some of those projects from the competition.
Yeah. So we've got the chicken is on display right here.
Maybe I'll come around. Okay, I'm gonna come around. We're gonna walk through here. The back way. There's John. Amazing. Making the TV magic. Good morning, Clint. Deanna says, do you make creations that people can take home? Hey, you know what's great about a Lego with a master builder? If it breaks, you can put it back together again.
Yeah, so this is my chicken with real wing flapping action.
Wow.
And the difficult part with this was that we had all plain rectangular pieces. There were no special hinges or curves or anything, so I had to figure out a way to make parts move without any special pieces.
Wow. Well, and that is tricky because nowadays there's motors, there's hinges, there's very specific pieces, but you did this with no special pieces. Was that part of the challenge?
Yeah, it was. It was kind of, how creative can you be given only rectangular pieces, given, only 4 or 5 different colors to work with, and you just kind of had to let the brick speak to you.
In this competition, there were three levels, right? Did you save any other projects?
Yeah, I've got one other one. The Splash Mountain didn't really make it, but I do have the computer here. So we do have the keyboard and the mouse. You can see the screen there. And then, yeah, it's got the button on the front that you can push.
Oh, and no way. Little flashback. I mean, when's the last time we used a disc?
A 3.5-inch floppy.
Wow.
It's been a long time.
It's been a minute.
It's been a long time, but yeah, I actually had to come up with, on the spot, a mechanism that allowed me to kick the disc out.
Oh.
So you push the button, and then it's all based off of this little hinge here, and that tips out the disc.
That's so cool. And again, no special pieces.
No special pieces, just all rectangles.
Wow. It's really about problem solving, isn't it?
Yeah. So the competition was a lot of fun because we actually got to that final round where I built the computer. We had a kid to assist us, and so I had a young man named Julian who was my assistant. And one of the things that was great with him is that I would kind of get a project started, and then I would pass it off to him and say, hey, I put a row of keys on this keyboard. Can you go find a bunch more blue pieces, fill the rest of this keyboard? He would run off, get more pieces, and he would just go to town. So it was great to work with a kid and kind of inspire them and give them sort of a project and then just let them run with it.
I love it. Deanna here. She is impressed with your reflexes. She's like, you caught the disc. Yeah. It popped out and you caught it so quickly. So, and this is cool because these are the challenges that you had to create on the spot in order to win this incredible job. We've got 500,000 Legos in this room. I know you had said, I want to show people some of the bigger projects you've done. You've created some new things in Lego in the village.
Yeah, in Miniland.
Yeah, should we show people Miniland? Sure. Now, those of you watching, again, this is Clint. He is a master Lego builder, and we are in between live shots right now this morning and just talking, and I thought, man, he was telling me how this was a job he had dreamed of as a child, and now he is literally living his dreams. And I think so often we have these dreams as kids, but as we grow older, we somehow believe that they're impossible to achieve, but he's achieved the impossible, and he is building the impossible every day. Okay, if you have questions for Clint, go ahead and drop them in the comments. He has promised to answer anything, and we will relay that. This is, what do we call this town?
So this is Miniland.
Miniland. So we're going to give you some looks. Now, if you've been here to Miniland before, you've seen most of it, but there are new pieces of Miniland that we're going to show you, and the details are pretty impressive. We're going to start off with something you built for winter.
Winter activities are always big in Michigan. We've got a beautiful state here, and so I kind of wanted to capture a little bit of that here with a ski slope.
The ski slope. Okay, yeah, with all the sound, Stan we'll have to make sure we can hear you. So this is interesting. And then you said you built it to move.
Yes, yep. So it's a working ski lift. Everybody goes up. And I've even got a couple little jokes in there. There's a bunny rabbit just riding down the ski slope there. Guy running into a tree, person on a kayak.
Oh my gosh, there's the guy running into the tree. Oh, the kayak. Oh my gosh, he forgot his skis.
And there's somebody stuck in a snowball up here.
Oh, that is funny. So now, obviously, Legoland, there are Legolands all across the country. So do they send you plans, or do you come up with these ideas and design them yourself?
I come up with all my own designs. So we do occasionally build kits for the retail shop, but for the most part, I am coming up with my own designs. I'm ordering brick directly from Europe. A They ship it out to me in great big cases, and I put together whatever it is that I need.
So this is awesome because there are Legolands all around the world, all across the country, but you're not getting help from other Legoland and other master builders. You're coming up with all of this on your own. And Steven Johnson wants to know, how long did it take you to build Miniland?
Miniland was 8 months worth of work.
8 months worth of work. Well, now, is that the initial Miniland? Because you've added to it.
Yep. So we've got a couple new additions. So ski slope is there, but then probably our most complicated new addition is Little Caesars Arena.
Okay, so this is Ford Field, you guys. This is Ford Field. This is where the Detroit Lions play and sometimes win. Of course, we'd like to see them win more often, just so you can get an idea of. This looks really cool, but when we go to Little Caesars, you're probably going to be even more impressed with Little Caesars. And I love the detail. You even got you have a screen up there. That's cute. Okay, so this is Ford Field, super cool. But I think when you see it, Little Caesars, you're going to see just the complexity. This is brand new.
Yes. This is our newest big addition here at Little Caesars Arena. It took me almost a month to design and build it. And one of my favorite things about Little Caesars Arena is that it really is designed to look like a bunch of different buildings. So that once you get a couple blocks away, it doesn't look like a great big sports stadium just stuck in the middle of downtown. It actually does look like rows of buildings. And so that was something I really tried to recreate, was making sure that I captured those different kind of architectural segments where each part looks a little bit different.
And so I feel like most people would leave the inside empty because who would see that? But you've got tiered seating. Look at that. You can see all the fans inside.
Yeah,
and the
I
lights.
Like to do cutaways so that you can actually see inside and see the Red Wings actually play inside.
They are playing inside. How neat. Oh, and we've even got logos in there for all the sponsors.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. And there's a game going on. You can see the Red on the ice with their, wow. That's really neat. And that's like looking up close. But then like you said, we've got the Little Caesars logo on top and then being able to come down from the side and you really captured the feel that it has in real life as you're walking through, downtown Detroit. This is really neat.
Thank you.
And this, you said, took how many months?
It took an entire month to design and build.
Wow. So Arnold says when he was a kid, there really wasn't much to build with.
They have diversified a lot.
Yeah.
There are a lot more specialized pieces. There are about 65,000 varieties between all the color variations right now. They're coming up with more specialized pieces, but I find that for the most part, like the entire top, the Little Caesars Arena with the logo, that's all still plain rectangles. So
this is all plain rectangles, the entire logo.
The entire logo and even the dome itself, with the exception of the little edge pieces there, which are some little slopes and curves, the whole top is just all rectangles, just over and over again.
Wow,
When you get big enough, the corners don't matter.
When it's big enough, the corners don't matter. That is pretty crazy to think that so much of this is built just with normal Lego pieces. And of course the windows, those are specialty. A few people, we've got Anita saying, this is so freaking cool. And Yuka says, awesome. It really is impressive. It's so fun to see, especially because, I'm definitely a little challenged in what I can do. But what else should we show them? Should we show them the new stuff and sea life? What do you guys want to see? How many hours did that take? Oh, you said a couple months, but
Little Caesars Arena?
yeah.
Little Caesars Arena was an entire month, and that was working 40 plus hours a week.
Okay, 40 plus hours a week for an entire month, so a minimum of 160 hours. And then perhaps maybe you had a little overtime. Okay, Tim says, I remember stepping on my kids' Legos when they were little. Have you ever stepped on a Lego?
I have, of course. I always wear shoes at work, so it's really not that big of a deal.
Okay, any Lego building injuries? Do you have any war wounds?
Every master builder, once they've been doing it for a little while, has scars.
Really?
Yeah, I've got nicks on my hands because Lego is sharp. I know a gentleman who works in the Lego model shop at the Big Park in England. He has a perfect L-shaped mark on his forehead when he was working underneath of a model and then sat up too quick and conked his head. So
wow, and you said
you got to be very careful of.
You have scars from Lego building, and you said on your hands?
Oh yeah, I've got. Let's see.
The war
this one
wounds
right here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It happens.
The war wounds of a master Lego builder. And you also said at some point when you're building Legos, some days you're building them for 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, and you build up calluses, but you can also really wear down your skin. Do you get blisters ever?
Blisters actually don't come up so much from the pieces, but I do have a couple tools that I use. We use a rubber mallet for when you're pounding down big layers of brick to make sure that everything's nice and compressed. And then also I've got different kinds of pliers that we use. Sometimes when you set brick down, maybe it's not in the right spot, you got to pull it back up again. And so I do get calluses from using some of those tools.
Okay. And so it's like a guitar player has calluses.
Yep. So you do the master builders.
Yes, so do the master builders. War wounds of a Lego master builder. Kyla saying, my 14-year-old son loves to build the Star Wars Lego set, and he has some alternative building as well, or tools or something. I don't know. He would love to do this. Well, hey, you know what? LEGOLAND is open to the public. They're doing things a little bit differently. I don't know where my bag went of my Legos, but LEGOLAND is open to the public. And then you've got virtual programs, which I know are for schools. What if somebody is learning from home? Can the public join in any of the virtual learning or virtual field trips?
We're doing just school groups and like clubs, organizations. If you've got a scout group, perhaps. We do have groups available for that, but it is a limit.
It's for groups.
Yes, it is for groups, a minimum of 15.
Okay, so you can do basically a virtual field trip if you want to via Zoom, and Clint will walk you through. You'll get sent a kit. Oh yeah, these bags. So we've opened ours because we started playing with them because we're going to feature them in the next segment. But yeah, there's the dragon that you build. But you get sent a kit, and then Clint will walk through building this item and sort of teach you along the way as you build over Zoom, and then you do a Q&A where they can ask you anything.
That's right. It's kind of like we're doing now.
Yeah. And you had told me that one of the most common questions you get is the kids will ask you if your hands hurt.
Yeah, yep. So, and I mean, your muscles do get sore working for, 9 hours at a time, kind of pushing down, and it's a lot of the same movement over and over. So I also do try to take breaks pretty regularly to kind of help with kind of the repetitive motion strain that you can get. So you got to be careful.
Tim Budd saying, how many do you need in the group for a virtual field trip? You said 15 minimum.
Yep.
So Tim, 15 minimum for your virtual group to do something. So that can be really any type of club or organization, whether it is, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, a church group, a homeschooling group even. I'm doing something with a homeschooling group. Yeah. Latrice, how do you sign up? So if you want to come in person, they are open in person. If you want to come in person with social distancing and other things like that, if they want to sign up for a group of 15 or more, how do they do that?
You have to go to our website, and there is a tab right across the top that says Groups and Schools.
Okay, groups in school. So that's what you would click. And I know right now things are so weird because a lot of you are home and having a normal field trip. Well, nothing's really been normal in a year. It hasn't felt that way. But yeah, you get together a group of 15 or more and go to groups and schools on the website, and you can hop on. So we've got the big D behind you. I remember you saying you worked on that for like 12 hours one day.
Yeah, when it got down, because they moved the deadline on me. The plan was to unveil it, I think, in the middle of April. And then my boss came around and said, hey, can you get it done by the end of March? And so it was, it got down to crunch time. I had to work some long days to get it done.
All right, so there is a part of LEGOLAND that has been closed to the public for a little while. I don't know if the door is still unlocked or not, but we got on live TV, we were able to go behind the scenes where it says crew members only to see some pieces that they are working on. They will be revealed to the public, relatively soon in the next couple of weeks, but nobody has seen them yet or before. So if you watched live in the 6 a.m. show, you probably saw it, but otherwise you're going to see the Facebook premiere of some new pieces, some new additions that Clint has been working on, just because you guys have been shut down. Clint has still been creating and building. It's just to be ready for you all to return. So the underwater quest.
So this room has been closed for most of our reopen. And so we're actually planning within the next couple weeks here to open it back up again and get people in here. And so, this was my last big project before the pandemic hit. I started building it in last February, and then we closed to the public, and I kept building. So it took me 2 weeks to finish him, and he's been waiting patiently in here for people to come in and see him.
So tell me what this is.
This is a green sea turtle.
A green sea turtle.
Not just because he's green, but that's actually the breed of sea turtle.
So when you were going to be making these things, did you watch documentaries?
Actually, I went to visit our aquarium. So Sea Life Aquarium right across the mall, and they're our sister site. We're both run by Merlin Entertainments, and so I know all of the people over there. They're my coworkers. And so I just went in and took pictures and actually got to see the turtles up close and kind of planned it out ahead of time.
Okay, that's really awesome. So this turtle is based upon a real turtle here at the mall. Yeah. Did the turtle have a name, do you remember?
Yeah, we've got two, actually. We've got Benson and Carr.
Benson and Carr. So is this inspired by Benson and Carr, or is this Benson or Carr?
It's more inspired. I took some creative liberties. I gave him some more cartoon kind of eyes to make him a little bit more expressive. But he very much is inspired by Benson and Carr. Especially if you kind of can get a top-down look at the shell. One of the things that's very natural in sea turtles is that the different scoots on the shell, the little plates, they are asymmetrical and they just kind of overlap, and they're not perfectly even. They're not nice and shaped like you might see in a cartoon, like, you know, the Ninja Turtles or something. Everything is very organic and just kind of all fits together. So that was something I really tried to recreate here, is kind of the imperfection of the shell and making sure that it's not all perfect and even and square, that everything just kind of flows together.
Is it more challenging as a builder to make something imperfect, like you said, capturing the imperfections, or to make something in a straight line?
Oh, absolutely, because when I'm designing on the computer, if I'm making something perfectly symmetrical, I really only have to design half of it, and then I can just do a mirror image. But to do something that, you know, the left flipper is just a little bit bigger than the right flipper, or, you know, the pattern on the shell is not perfectly symmetrical, it actually takes quite a bit more work to plan all of that out.
Well, and I love the layers of the Legos on the flippers, because to me, it gives an element of motion. Tim here asks a great question. And before I ask your question, Tim, I'm curious how many Legos are in this turtle?
There's about 80,000 that make up the turtle.
80,000 Legos in the turtle. Tim says, do you have to deconstruct your own projects, or does somebody else do it? And so do you have to deconstruct them, or does somebody else break it down?
It's all me. I plan it out ahead of time on the computer, and then when I'm happy with the way it looks on screen, I order the brick, it comes in, I put it together myself.
Deconstruct, take it apart.
Oh, no. This is permanence. So he is fused together. We use chemical bonding to make sure that the brick stays together, so this isn't going anywhere.
Okay, but I remember there's a Star Wars piece you're going to be taking apart.
Yep.
So is it hard when you have to take apart your own projects? Is it does you feel emotionally attached to things you've invested your time in?
If it's something particularly big, yeah. Small things that I create, you know, that might only be 30 or 40 pieces, something that we might use for social media, not usually a huge deal to take something like that apart, because I usually have computer design, so if I ever wanted to recreate it, I can just pull it back up on the computer. It actually is more worth the space to have it cleaned up at the end of the day.
So what's the last big project you had to take apart? Or usually when it's a bigger project like this, is it something that you plan on keeping?
Yeah, anything that I'm going to say is more than about 2,000 pieces is a permanent installation.
Okay.
But probably the last biggest thing I had to take apart was we did a Renaissance Fair installation that was in Miniland before the ski resort. And so that was probably about 1,500 or so pieces plus Lego people. And so that was probably the biggest thing that I had to take apart, was all of the stands for the fair and all of the little scenes. That was probably the biggest thing recently I've had to take apart.
So I would imagine if you're building all of these things and you don't ever take them apart, your house is going to get pretty full. Is your house, do you have like, you know, a lot of Lego things in your home?
I do. I've actually got over 1,000 Lego kits at home. But I've got a system. They're not always out. They're not all on display. And I try to keep it under control. Upstairs in our living room, we've only got the big Harry Potter castle. And I think we've got one of the architecture sets that my wife put together. I think it's the White House.
Your wife builds Legos too!
Yes. Oh, yeah.
What? Dreams really do happen. Not only can you pursue your dreams and make money doing what you love, you could find a life partner that loves it too. I mean, what is cooler than that? We're going to have to wrap up this live, but I think probably a great question to end on. Sam is asking, can you talk about how to clean up Legos? Do you have any tricks for cleaning up Legos and putting them away to make it faster or easier? And I know we have some Legos over here.
Well, I can show you what we use here.
Oh, yeah.
So when we have a lot of Lego that needs to be cleaned up.
So hang on when we get over there, because I think when you're not looking at me, it's probably a little harder.
Yeah.
You just sweep it up?
We sweep them up. So, yeah, we've got a big dustpan here and the rake that we got at the dollar store.
You use a rake and a dustpan to clean up Legos. So when they're like on the floor or on the tables, and then what happens to them next? Because, I mean, do they get dirty or the dustpan's clean?
So we clean them up. So we actually have a washroom here. We've got a big commercial dishwasher. We put all the brick into bags and we run it through the washer.
You put the Legos in a dishwasher.
Right. So you can do that at home too. I recommend that you get like a mesh laundry bag. Nice small ones, like a gallon size is really good. Put it on the top rack of your dishwasher. Make sure that there's not any pieces with stickers on them because they'll get ruined in the dishwasher. But any regular Lego piece, even the ones with printing on them, you can run them through the dishwasher just fine.
Oh my gosh. That is, okay, give a like, give a heart, give a thumbs up if that seems like a good idea to any of you watching. I have never heard about putting Legos into the dishwasher in a little laundry bag. How cool is that?